so fucking pissed. I edited all of the fucking audio and it gets deleted. I don't understand that shit, bro. Saitama vs. the Big Three to me is pretty interesting since it's using a character who gets overhyped and seeing where he stacks up against the characters who people believe ain't shit because they can't be Goku. Well, in today's video, I'm going to be not only shining light on Saitama and the Big Three, but also address a lot of misconceptions with their scaling. Firstly, I'd like to start with Saitama since I've literally made a video dedicated to the Big Three and their scaling already. Shameless plug, go check that out if you haven't. So we'll get into Saitama's attack potency first. Saitama before his fight with Garo was usually considered to be planetary as he could disperse the collapsing star cannon which could at the very least wipe out the planet. This is also consistent as Saitama upscales from characters like Garo who can chop up characters like Sage Centipede whose size is about large planet, and even Psychos Orochi who should be in that small planet range at least, whether it's from the feat she performs herself or Orochi drawing energy from the Earth's core and her upscaling from this because she's literally Orochi. And then you have Garo coming around, allowing Saitama to reach new heights and even destroy multiple stars with the energy of their clash. This space hole feat at best is multi-solar system via calculation, so to be super generous to Saitama, let's just grant him this along with his MFTL speed scaling since he can literally punch Garo around rocks so fast, bro is making a light construct of a planet from how many times he got dinked around. Plus we have Blast and the other members of his squad being able to stop and move the energy from their punch in space, which would have to require at least MFTL speeds. As for his hacks, there's nothing to really note besides his adaptation, and if he's basically way stronger than you, Duraneg that hits his organs and atoms won't be really that effective. Saitama, I don't know if you guys knew, but usually just one punches things and calls it quits, so there's nothing really too special about bro's hacks to note besides his resistances. Now, let's talk about the Big Three and their scaling. To start off with Luffy, who's the weakest of the Big Three, his best AP scaling is him scaling to Kaido, who scales to Whitebeard, who can destroy the One Piece world. As we all know, the One Piece world is larger than our normal one, and some calcs have this ranging from dwarf to large star level. But again, we are being super generous to Luffy here. As for speed, he should be in that MFTL range due to dodging light super early on in the series and getting exponentially faster through power cliffing and transformation multipliers. And for his hacks, there's nothing really too important to note besides his durability negation, future sight, and his Gear 5 Toon Force. However, due to Saitama being thousands of times more powerful than Luffy, you can't prove that his hacks would overcome Saitama. Also, Advanced Armament wouldn't work here or Advanced Conqueror since Saitama has been hit with Duraneg way more deadlier than both of these. And sadly, Luffy doesn't win another matchup. However, where do the other two stack up in comparison to the Caped Baldy? Naruto scaling is pretty straightforward when it comes to the higher tier stuff. Momoshiki, who Naruto folds while crippled, can absorb stars and celestial bodies, putting him in the solar system levels of power without really reaching. As for his speed, well, characters like Haku, Itachi, and Darui, and even the Raikage are all stated to be light speed, who Naruto scales above and cliffs over hundreds of times over. Plus, Momoshiki absorbing stars would require MFTL speeds as he's doing it in a pretty fast amount of time. As for hacks, the most important things to note are his regeneration, his durability negation, his crazy versatility with shadow clones, precognition, along with his mastery of all chakra natures. Now, Naruto is definitely a step up from Luffy as an opponent, but Naruto stat-wise is still slightly inferior to Saitama, and no, I don't think he's universal. I hit the gym and I'm based, unfortunately. Anyway, with this scaling, Saitama could actually overcome Naruto, plus if you were to say that they were relative, it wouldn't matter since Saitama can just adapt his way out the situation. Next up is Ichigo, who I've set his solar system level through using a calculation Ichigo would scale to in the second movie, which was star level, then adding in all of Ichigo's transformations and multipliers plus cliffing throughout the series, which yes is exponential. His AP would roughly be in that solar to multi-solar range. However, I think out of the Big Three, Ichigo is more than likely to be stronger than this tier since we have things like Gremmy creating a galaxy, but this feat is usually contentious amongst fans. And honestly, if we were giving this to Ichigo, I'd probably say it's also fair to argue for multi-galaxy Saitama in that case. However, Ichigo's galaxy scaling would for sure be better. As for his speed, well, by the Soul Society arc, he's already upscaling from characters who are dodging literal beams of light, and then adding in every single transformation multiplier and stacking, he'd have to be at least moving over thousands of times this by the end of the Blood War. And you already know in Bleach, everybody is body slamming each other's souls and hitting them with abilities that affect said souls, which is pretty much the main thing to note for Ichigo's hacks. Unfortunately for Saitama, his win record stops here, with Ichigo's cliffing just being way too much for Saitama to handle when looking at their peaks. Again, I could wank the space hole feat and say he's multi-galaxy, but honestly this is just super disingenuous since that calc was already revised and it seems more consistent for it to be in that multi-solar tier. And Saitama hasn't really showed any resistances to soul hacks either, so I think Ichigo is just gonna flex and crumple his bald soul. He one-shots Luffy, he might one-shot Naruto, but then Ichigo then one-shots him. So overall, Saitama versus the Big 3 was not close.